Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 135 of the Loss of Lieutenant podcast, the Cancon predictions and the tournament meta episode. Tonight, I am joined by my three lovely co-hosts who are all going to Cancon. I am not. Josh.
Hello.
Nick.
Hello.
And Tristan.
I'm bringing up the rear just like at CanCon.
Absolutely. He is locking down that bottom third of the tournament placings, and he's sitting there rock solid.
Gatekeeping that bottom.
Absolutely gatekeeping it.
Bottom third of the tournament place is just like my strength of schedule at BCB.
Absolutely. The hardest, he's submarining so hard he actually comes in 30th. Before we do get into the bulk of the content for tonight, we do have some really quick announcements to run through, as well as our challenges, which are ending soon. The LOL Quarterly Challenge N5 edition, we want to hear from you about N5. We want your first battle report from N5. We want battle reports after a few games of N5. And as always, everyone here knows I'm a slut for hexagons. Tell us how you use your sand trap terrain. Hopefully better than Dion, as he's built a few sand trap tables that have been looking mighty bare. And we want you to send all of those submissions to us at lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. Moving on to the upcoming events, which have been properly shaken up now that CanCon is right on the horizon. Upcoming events, we have Border Bash 2025 from the 7th to the 8th of June. That is the King's birthday weekend at the Mirabina Community Centre in Lavington. The missions for that event have been spoiled already with Mind Wipe, Countermeasures, Panic Room, and the Armory. Bringing up the rear, round one, Cryogenics, the best ITS mission that is not currently in the ITS document. Be there, it's going to be a fantastic event. I will be attempting to defend my title, I guess. And then moving on from that, we also have Arkfinity 2025 from May 3rd to 4th at the Sandown Racecourse in Melbourne. The missions and points are yet to be decided, as Ark is traditionally a much more hobby-focused event, focusing on fun, as well as different ways of playing the game that aren't just the traditional tournament style, and looking to put a lot more stock into painting and sportsmanship outside of just traditionally do well club seal. So tickets are available on the 30th of January, around $100 estimated cost. Fully painted and based is a requirement, but I'm sure that people will be able to pull through for that. We had some fantastic armies come through last year, as well as a lot of people going well above and beyond and doing full display boards and everything as well, even if some display boards did more so resemble a slab of chocolate cake, Josh.
Only in the
first 3/4 of its construction.
Yeah. It's like painting a miniature. It only comes together when you put your 5th coat of Nile oil on it.
Fantastic. And that is on the 3rd to the 4th of May. However, moving into the bulk of the episode today, we have the CanCon predictions. As a reminder, CanCon is Australia Day weekend, which is next weekend, from the 25th to the 26th of January. There are still tickets available. The TO Chris has gone through hell and back to get us more tickets, which, honestly, props to him. Dealing with those organizers sounds like one of the worst jobs in the world, and I wish him nothing but the best for having done it. So if you are interested in going to CanCon, you can still make your way over there and pick up tickets. Of course, if you want to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/lossoflieutenant, become one of our lovely cocks. If you want to sit in, listen to these episodes live on our Discord, which Tristan will always have a link in the description of wherever you listen to this podcast. The viability of that link is sometimes questionable, however.
God, it was once.
It's once, and we will never let you live it down.
Yeah.
Did the stream just go down?
No,
the stream just came up.
Oh, sure.
Another
okay.
thing I messed up, Jordan.
Oh, wonderful. Good to know. Alright, so tonight we are going to be doing a go-through of the lists of the three of us who are going to CanCon, and I will be hosting and trying to run through everyone and make sure people don't blather on for far too long about why their favourite profile is in the list. Tristan?
Not anymore.
Yeah, I know, right? And we're also going to be making some vague predictions about the meta that we are wondering to see what's going to shake out at CanCon. But before we do all that, we should probably take a look at the missions for CanCon. Tristan, what are the missions that we will be playing at CanCon, and why are they the most vanilla missions we've ever seen in our lives?
Well, round 1, acquisition. That is the Infinity mission. Round 2, unmasking. It's in every tournament. Round 3, supplies. That's the first mission. That's Baby's first mission for Infinity. Round 4, firefight, and round 5 is decap, which is just kill stuff. So, do you need to think? That's debatable. You just play an Infinity, really.
This is the most we're just playing Infinity set of missions I've ever seen in my life. There is no
I like how it
spice here.
steadily gets less complicated as you go down the.
Well, okay, so
It's like control things, and then it's like control things and kill things, and then it's like grab things, and then it's like kill people and do things, and it's just kill people. So a decap and acquisition can actually just switch around because that's all acquisition is too.
so from a TO perspective, there are subtleties in the lineup. Acquisition, unmasking, supplies, and firefight all have the same 3 objectives on the board. Acquisition and unmasking don't move those. Supplies moves them. And then day 2 happens and they're reset for firefight.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's the minimum number of resets on the board state between rounds.
There is no spice in these missions. This is the most like we are going to play 5 games of Infinity, and the mission is only going to factor into it in acquisition.
Oh yeah, like normally when I look at it, especially like a 2-day tournament, I want to pick out the 1 or 2 scenarios that are like the standout ones that I go, I need to make sure I have a list that can cover this, and I will tailor a list to that and see what else it covers before I write my second list. That is not the case. I'd feel comfortable dropping most lists I would write into all 5 of these.
Yeah, like in terms of like the specialist bonuses, it's actually like nicely sort of rounded out. Yeah. Like you've got 2 missions with hacker bonuses, 1 engineer bonus, you've got paramedic bonus for supplies, and then you are punished for specialists in firefight, and decap doesn't give a shit. So
I've been on record saying I think the decap is the worst last round mission, but we'll. I mean, it's great for ease of playing, but the amount of 7/7 draws that come through on decap is actually insane.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way of just not making any difference between your round 4 and round 5.
Yeah.
In fact, your round 4 might be like a not very accurate prediction. Your results at the end of round 4 might not be a very accurate prediction because your top table will probably draw, and then your table 2 might be the blowout. So you might get someone just just
like leapfrogging from like 3rd to 1st.
Exactly. It has happened. It can happen. I'm looking forward to seeing it happen again.
Yeah, acquisition is that round 1 is like. That's going to be a time for people. Because, like, I remember CanCon 2023 was acquisition in round 1 as well, actually. And that is, like, your first mission of the day is a rough one. It was, like, I don't think there's another mission in the game where you hear the story, so I went first, and then I put my opponent in retreat, and then I lost the game.
Yep.
It was like a 8-4, 8-3 or whatever win going into turn 3, and then my opponent put 2 guys on buttons, and suddenly I lost the game.
My second BCB, which was September 2021.
Yeah.
I was relatively new to playing Infinity. I was playing vanilla Aleph. I had just crushed my opponent in round 1, and round 2 was acquisition. And I was like, I had Achilles on the 20-inch line. Like I was going second.
Oh my god!
I had Achilles on the 20-inch line. Old mate was playing O12 and put Andromeda, like counter deployed Andromeda against me, and then subsequently forgot that Andromeda has a zapper. because Achilles killed Andromeda, and then I just impetuous Achilles and killed basically his entire arm. I killed his lieutenant and his chain of command in my first turn.
And then you lost
so
the game?
he was in loss of lieutenant. In my second turn, I wiped out the rest of his army with Achilles. He had 7 points remaining. He went into retreat with 7 points remaining, with a single flash pulse bot. That flash pulse bot fucking moved with its order onto the center console, dodged like about 15 different shots, and went. And it was a draw.
Wow. Yep. That is the acquisition. That is the acquisition dream. Honestly, that's just how.
It was.
Wow.
It was very good.
Yeah. So how does everyone sort of actually feel about this mission lineup? Because like I'm feeling pretty ambivalent about it. I think it's fine. Like there's no spice, which is good for like the first sort of big tournament of N5.
I think it's fine. And for having to announce it before N5 is released, there are probably 5 of the safest scenarios that won't have any major changes between.
Not only that, none of those missions are going to be leaving the ITS packet.
No, absolutely
So like,
not.
And
if they suddenly were like, oh, ITS 16 is going to be a huge shakeup, and we're only leaving 5 of the same missions in, these would be the 5 missions that would be left in.
Yeah.
I think the only flag that comes up for me with the change, he'll have to clarify the panoplies table for firefight, because it references 2 things that no longer exist in the game.
Yeah.
But those 2 things, if you look at the booty table, are replaced with their N5 equivalents. So if you use the booty table, it does the same thing for firefight right now.
I'm fairly certain in the rule book or in the rule book there is a firefight mission in the rule book, and it has
cool.
the panoply table being the new N5 booty table.
Cool.
So I'm gonna do the whole put up or shut up thing, and I'm gonna get it up. But keep going while I do that.
So, I think that what was I going to... Josh has completely made me lose my train of thought. I think the other thing as well is there's going to have to be a couple of like TO rulings for some of like the rules that are a little bit unclear right now. Like while the rule with impetuous movement isn't unclear, it is very much a mistranslation. You are still probably going to have people trying to do the 40k impetuous movement if they can get away with it, if there isn't like an announcement at the start of the day. Along with like stuff that is genuinely unclear, like if my albedo unit shoots through a cloud of white noise, are they on neg 6 or neg 12?
Yes. So let me just clarify this. Firefight gets rid of the panoply table to get altogether in the rule book.
And just says roll on the booty table?
No, there are no panoplies. It has more surviving specialists than your adversary at the end of the game. Replaces the points for panoplies.
And the
army points, the lieutenant points for there's no classifieds either. I think there's no firefight into direct action.
It's a direct action mission. I really do like the first objective on the rulebook firefight, having more surviving specialists in the adversary, because then that balances out the kill more specialists some. And
it's got reinforced tactical link as well. I think it's just a decat. Never mind me, I'm a liar. This firefight mission is completely different to the one that we have in the ITS packet, so who cares?
Wonderful. But moving on from the missions, we should probably start talking about some lists, because we did do Pimp My List last week, so it is only fair that the hosts of this show reveal what they are going to be bringing to CanCon, so there can be no call of an unfair advantage. Tristan, what are you bringing to CanCon?
A really messy amount of vanilla powder.
You are not. You are having like a really good time for like 2 weeks, I think. And like the last couple of days, it feels like reality has just crashed down around you.
It's amazing how much you can delude yourself when your dice keep rolling well.
Yep.
So, we have...
Man had the IGL dice on the thing, and I made him take the NCA dice.
He made me take the NCA dice. I got destroyed.
Man kills like one red eye from like 3 wounds to dead with Joan, and then suddenly the world is his oyster.
After tanking a Blitzen.
Yeah, after tanking a million arrows.
Alright. So first list. This is my cutter list. It's not actually a cutter list, it's a Swiss Guard list, and that's funny. So I decided we want good LTs. I feel like so many of these missions, you're not, like, let's say a Magistrate, it's a really great LT. I feel like three out of 5 of these missions, people are going to be hunting your LT like 90% of the time, so Magistrate is completely off the table. So I decided to go with Joan. Joan is great. She's had a massive glow up. 45 points for an AP Spitfire with tack aware as well. She's gotten an X visor. I feel like the Pulsar wasn't +1 burst last time. It might have been. But she's also now linkable with Helots. So take a Joan Spitfire with 2 Helots. I've been a little bit cheeky and taken a Red Fury Helot because you get an extra 2 dice for 3 points, which sounds pretty fun. Cool amount of ARO potential, as Josh will tell you, when he doesn't kill them in a single order. And importantly, I feel like Whip 15 is actually kind of big when you want to, like, a lot of these missions you want to go first. So getting that high whip, especially in Pano, just, I don't know, might be really good. Swiss Guard, it was good. It's still good.
What's better? Cheaper.
BS 15 HMG with Mim 6 is always going to be pretty good. And it's off the table, so unless my opponent is running up like a sensor piece and just censoring my DZ, I feel like it's pretty safe if I am forced to go second. So that's some good shooting. We have 2 Teuton Specialist and a Motorized Bounty Hunter as close assault. Teutons can just impetuous up. There's not too much button pressing, so I feel like I don't need super mobile button presses to be like dedicated to that. So Teutons just maybe getting the acquisition buttons or pulling out some supply boxes and kind of running away. They're being annoying in ARO with Panzerfausts, and they've gotten limited cover, so they're 6 armor, which is pretty nice. Yep, you can, if I pull a Val and coordinate or to shoot some stuff with them as well, it could be. I like the Specialist one as well because they get an SMG, so you get the extra dice and the suppressive, which is really nice. We've taken the suite of new Fennec models, which is great. We've got the Hacker, which for 16 points is an absolute bargain. You get an E-Mitter and a Fast Panda, which is amazing. I've
taken very much to calling them the Fennec Force.
They're incredible. They almost want to take 5 of them sometimes. The Ford Observer with Disco Ballers. I suppose you can't really understate how good Eclipse and Burst to Eclipse is in Pano. Like, just
vision control, right? It's insane.
Yeah. And the Thunderbolt I wasn't taking before, but I'm taking now because it's actually it's a mine layer to potentially hold off some of those drop troops or protect Joan from something like a Shinobu. And it is just like, it's still a BS12 Burst 3 mini HMG, and you get that train-led fire. For 14 points, it is really good as just a Group 2 gun that sometimes you can use on the other side of the table.
Like 14 points and no Swick as well for a mine layer.
But no Swick as a mine layer, it's really good.
Like, it's just that, it's like that really, it's just a really compelling number of things for a very cheap package.
For 14 points. Compared to most other line troops, it's only 2 or 3 points more expensive. Like, Securitates are still 13 points or 12 points. For 2 points, you get a Thunderbolt and a mine layer, and like, that's really good. So
WC mine layers are fucking great too.
Yeah. We've got a cheeky little bolt duo, Sniper and Killer Hacker. Really nice. Not super good in ARO, I've found, but if you can keep it alive, it's punishing. Again, it shoots at everything pretty well.
Yeah, it's good depending on opponent, right? Like, versus Ariadna, this is like a punishing ARO, potentially.
Yes. Yep. Sometimes it's like, you only need to roll bad once, and it's off the table, and there isn't any doctors in this, so I'm hesitating to put it on ARO, but yeah, it is an option. Killer Hacker is great combined with the Zulu Cobra Killer Hacker. Gives you a little bit of hacking presence to try and assassinate those hackers so Joan doesn't get isolated.
Yeah. Honestly, like
Wait,
your
you've also
network
got-
presence.
You've
Sorry,
also
go
got
ahead, Nick.
Fast Panda in there.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Honestly, like your network presence in this list is like, it's like, the old like, oh, Pano's bad at hacking. It really doesn't apply anymore. Like that Bolt plus Zulu Cobra plus the Fennec Fusilier is your regular hacker. Like, it's a really compelling and like well costed hacking core that is like difficult to interact with. Like, Zulu Cobras are fucking obnoxious.
Zulu Cobras are very good, and I really like. I think we've mentioned it before, but we'll keep mentioning it. Having your hacker also be a BS13 Mim3 guy with a breaker combi is like a great double up. Like BS13 Mim3 is like Ariadne's best gun.
Well, especially with like all of the all the immunity arm that exists in the game now, there's like no immunity BTS in the game.
Yep. Round off the list with like a Tech B, a War Core, stuff to fill it out.
Totally.
And you get your first list. I'm really happy with this list. It's consistent. It runs well. I like it. Second list. So originally I was just taking that list and I was putting an Aquila in it, and it's not really working. 50 points for just BS15. Sometimes the MS33 isn't applicable, so I'd rather have MIM than MSV3 sometimes. So instead of that, we've just gone, fuck it, let's take a cutter list. The one I've posted is the one that Jordan has recommended me.
No, hold on. Before I get misrepresented here,
Hold on.
I made this at like midnight last night because Tristan was having a whinge in DMs. You have a million different options when it comes to a cutter list. I was given no guidelines. This was my no guidelines cutter list.
All right. So I will say I'm completely undecided on the cutter list. Maybe viewers can help me. So pretty much the list is going to have 10 out of the 15 models are probably always going to be the same. You're going to have a cutter. You're going to have 2 flash pulses. You're going to probably have that suite of Phoenix. You're going to have the Zulu Cobra. You're going to have the motorized bounty hunter, the machinist with the armed turret probably, and then the Tech B. The rest is like, am I taking a Spitfire? Do I want like a Bulleteer duo? Do I want a Bolt duo? The Zulu Cobra Spitfire took me by surprise, only being 25 points. I was like, holy crap, that's really cheap. Yeah, I'm just not sure what to round the list out with. Even the Sierra Drombot, that Thunderbolt, I could take it every day and probably be happy, just because if I revive it every single time. I
also really didn't hate your idea of like the Bolt with the 2 sensor Helots, because that's a legal fire team.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm sold on camo Helots anymore, because they're just a little bit more expensive than they were, and those points really do add up. Yes. I think I think the trade-off between being in a marker state or having +1 special dice is a real conversation to have.
Yeah. I'm not sure either. I haven't tested the camo Helots. I get a feeling if you're not linking them, it's immediately better. But if you do link them, they kind of have to be within an 8-inch bubble of that either Joan or the Orc chick or the Bolt or something. So they're kind of limited in a bubble, which might not be the best. I'm not certain. Sometimes they do stupidly good, and then sometimes they just flop. Which means that camo can really just absorb a couple extra orders. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, you can take like a Bolt sniper, put 2 Helots on him. That Bolt's probably going to live, and if the Helots kind of live, you've still got a Bolt that has sensor attached to it that can shoot 3 dice inactive. But yeah, I'm very undecided. If people want to send me their ideas, go for it.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what you do when you don't. When they go, oh shit, you've got a cutter. I'm gonna put my head down and null deploy you. You kind of don't have any option. So like, I'd be trying to jam a red eye in as much as I could. I reckon.
It's not my favorite idea, just because it's 2 S7s.
Yeah, but one's off the table. Oh no, you're taking the lieutenant cutter.
No.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
the motorized bounty hunters like doing a lot of work, and so is the like the Teutons as well. Something you can do because you have that peacemaker is you're able to walk that up the table, and you can use that to sort of attack your enemy's hackers with the Zulu Cobra through the repeater that it has.
Yeah.
It does have a
That
repeater,
way you
right?
can
I'm not
just-
talking out of my ass.
It does have a
Yeah,
repeater.
Peacemaker has it already, yeah.
Yeah, thank God. I was like, oh no, am I talking out of my butt right now? Yeah, that's an option you have. The motorized bounty hunter needs to do a lot of work. The issue is that like Pano's close assault is just a lot weaker now, or it's a lot more limited. So
We don't
just
have anything anymore.
yeah, it's like the motorized bounty hunter and Teutons basically, and sort of
You've
hopes and
lost
prayers.
so much.
I feel like that you could make a table decision as well, where if you think a table's kind of open, or if it's more like an angled table where you think the cutters are really going to get those shots, could be worth it. I feel like I'm only taking the cutter list into those like 5-fight decap. I want to assassinate your LTE.
Yeah.
Well,
it's also for like heavy hacking presence as well, right? Because something Joan is vulnerable to is like a linked picture, basically.
Yeah.
So like if you're facing down something like, you know, like a Druze or like Vanilla combined with Bit and Kiss, like it is good to sort of make that decision and go like, I'm not going to play the super hackable lieutenant if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
And the cutter is very good at sort of like surviving turn one, basically. Like discovering a Mim 6 model isn't easy.
Yep. I'm not super confident.
Yeah,
it's hard. I don't know. Man, losing Liang Kai and Shona Corona has like really hampered.
Again, yeah, sometimes Teutons go off. Sometimes your opponent recognizes that if they throw down a couple pitches, the Teutons are kind of useless.
Oh, Patsy's so expensive. Oof.
Patsy's okay. You can put Patsy in and make the Helots regular.
Yeah, FT Master have Helots is pretty cool.
And then you get that burst 3 emitter.
Yeah,
which is a thing.
BS14 is pretty big.
I mean, that's sort of why you're taking her, right? Is the emitter. Like
Yeah.
that gun's like just so much better now.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
Nick,
we
how
can
do
move
you
on
feel
from
about
me.
this?
Oh, okay. Okay, we can no. It's all right. Nick can rip me apart.
Oh no, go ahead. You guys had a good discussion on it, and Pano is not my strong suit.
That's totally fair. Well, let's talk about something that is apparently Nick's strong suit, which is winning with Onyx Contact Force. Nick, what is going on?
Yeah. So if you remember our tier list where we said Vanilla CA was amazing, Morats were great, and Onyx was okay. Yeah. So I'm playing Onyx. Because they've just clicked better with me. I kind of started off just trying to get my feet at the start of N5 and just kind of imported what I was doing in N4 and added an overdrawn. Ran that a few times. I ended up splitting that list into two paths. I forked the progression of it, where one was going more of like an MSV path with the Mac Trap and the Grief, and the other was going more of a Mimetism skew with Rodox and Noctifer. Eventually got that to the point where I just kept wanting to like mix and match the list and merged it back. So that became list 1. And then list 2, I ended up writing like, what can I do if I just take the overdrawn out and put in the toys that I had been played around with. Some of the, I guess, takeaways that I got from toying around with the different stuff, I got like more comfortable running Onyx without an E-drone, which I think was an important step. Rodox are so much fun.
Yep.
The Thunderbolt +1 burst Q drone, at least for my playstyle, is just flat better than the HMG, on top of being cheaper.
Yep.
I've gotten more comfortable with the extra rule. Mostly, finally came to the realization that I don't have a doctor or a paramedic, so the extra basically just denies my opponent the ability to do classifies. It's not a penalty for me. And I've really come to love that new tag peripheral. It has done so many missions for me, and out of the different ones we have in the game now, I think the Staldron's probably the best. Given that it's got the highest whip and it's got a plus to dodge.
Okay, sure.
Pretty sure they all have a plus to dodge, or most of them do anyway. The Aleph ones certainly do.
I know it's completely irrelevant, but I'm pretty sure the Seraph one's the best.
Right, yeah, because
Oh,
super
sorry.
jump age.
That's super jump.
Barring the abilities tacked on because the best of the faction templates, not
Sure.
including the rules that get tacked on, because you can like super jump.
Not including the Seraph being able to do the old fastball special with its ancillary bot. So how about you run us through both of these lists, Nick, and sort of tell us what you like about them?
Yeah, so my first list, I've got Norkius as my lieutenant. Sorry.
For obvious reasons, he's insane.
It's Onyx. The lieutenant pool is so shallow that as soon as you tell your opponent what your whip is for your roll, they almost have your lieutenant narrowed down, and as soon as you deploy, they will know exactly who your lieutenant is. So go have fun, go with the one I'm enjoying playing. And if they know who it is, great.
I mean, go for the one that can like single-handedly win you the game as well, right?
Yes, yeah. Plus that I also get to tell my opponent that Norkius spends his lieutenant order using NCO, so they don't know who my lieutenant is.
It is a play. Josh is rolling his eyes right now. It is a play. I did it at BCV. It works.
It is a play. It is a play as long as your opponent is so brand new that they don't know that Norkius is the only lieutenant option in Onyx with whip 15.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't mean I tell him that Norkius is using the lieutenant order. I mean, I say Norkius will use his own lieutenant order using NCO so that you don't know who he is. Because it just, yeah.
Yeah. Right. You actually say that whole sentence. Yes. Yeah. So you don't know who my lieutenant is, but it's him. He's the lieutenant. Yeah, that's exactly how I would play it too.
Calm the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have it overdrawn with HRMC. One of the great things about that is because it has the Tinbot firewall, and Norkius is a wild card. If I'm concerned about hacking in the alpha, can just duo him in with the overdrawn, and now he's got a firewall.
Yeah, which is huge.
Mm-hmm. And if for some reason they try to missile him, he's also got missile defense. Next up, I have a Haris of a Unidron Plasma Sniper, a Unidron Plasma Carbine Forward Observer, because point, and a Unidron Plasma Carbine.
Yeah. Are Unidrons not like Dakini, where you can do them as a duo?
You cannot do them as a duo.
That is bullshit. I'm sorry. Like, if Dakini can duo, Unidron should be able to duo.
I hope that when Onyx gets its rewrite, they allow them to duo, because the other options that make up that fire team chart portion really seem like duoable things. So either dropping, making the Unidrons a separate one, or just adding duo to that, because a lot of the core the line troop links are now doable. Round out. Got the wrong slide up.
What?
You've got
Josh's slide up.
I didn't mean to press anything.
Okay.
There we go.
So rounding out group 1, we've got 2 Imitrons and 2 Ichatrons.
Yep.
Group 2, I've got a Vector Plasma Sniper, a Gryphops Impersonator.
That profile exists now?
Yes. There is a Vector Plasma Sniper now.
Oh my god.
So that is a super jumping 6'2", 3 armor plasma or BS-12 plasma sniper with MSV2 and MIM-3.
For cheaper than a Nice.
Yes.
Cheaper than an Epsilon.
I think I'd probably still personally prefer the Spitfire, but I'm open to being wrong about that.
I think it's more a list balance. I really want something that can pick off from range.
Don't you already sort of have the Unidron Plasma Sniper for that though, with marksmanship?
I'm not sure yet. Yeah,
Oh.
because I played it twice, and
It's also got MSV2.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was the bird. Like, so yeah, it's there to handle like high mim ARO pieces.
Yeah, it's there for like in case of like Cenobite smash button.
Yes.
I know that you have been toying around, and maybe it's in the other one, with having the Mac rep instead. Do you think that the regeneration and the Sixth Sense is something that regeneration skill is awesome? They didn't have.
It is.
Did they have +3 before?
But it's not shock immune, and I played that in many games.
Yeah.
I have never gotten to the point where I was actually able to attempt a regeneration roll.
Right.
It was just like it was either obliterated or not touched.
Yeah.
And often the stuff that it was trading shots with could pop shock onto their equipment.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't have shock immune, so its regen 14 is amazing, but yeah, I've never personally been able to use it.
So you switched it to the Vector to give it mimetism and make the no unconscious state the bug, the feature, not the bug.
Yeah,
and yes, I did just use a bug pun in.
I actually switched it for the mobility of the Vector.
Yeah, okay, nice.
So the Mac Trip, as an ARO piece, it's okay. I think it needs to be linked, and if it's linked, like the list build changes entirely.
Yeah.
And the Mac Trip doesn't have the mobility to hunt stuff down. Whereas the Vector, I can put kind of on a flank and just rocket up the side and then shoot the opposite side of the board. Following up the Vector, I've got a Greif Impersonator, a Q drone with Thunderbolt, an E drone, a base operator engineer with 2 slave drones. So this is a bit more of a defensive list. Not in the bunker, but in the I want to touch stuff from across the board before it gets to me.
That's fair.
So, like this would, if I get a really open table, like this would definitely be a preferred list. Because if I can get the log fire lanes on the table, then I can exploit that.
Totally. I think it fights really well. I think like I think you've got like a really like nicely put together list here. It's a little sad that it's got the base operator instead of Dr. Worm. That's about it, really.
You know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I actually was playing with only the base operator for most of my N5 Onyx.
Yep.
Because it allowed me the extra points to play with the rest of the list. And in doing so, I also became more comfortable with it. It's not Dr. Worm, but it is cheap enough that I'm okay with that trade-off.
That's fair.
And I've also had instances, the fact that it's got super jump, because it wants to stay back hidden for most of the game, I have had turn 3 attack runs with the base operator.
Okay.
Where I think it was acquisition.
You've used it
where
against me.
Yeah, on turn 3, the base operator activates, double jumps, activates again, jumps again, pushes the button, and then the next activation jumps and shotguns something in the back, jumps, shotguns something in the back, because I had skewed my opponent to the other side of the board. And
I like that.
it just ran through. And the fact it's got a heavy shotgun. Like, sure, it's BS-11, but a BS-11 heavy shotgun that super jumps into position, like, I could work with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would you take Dr. Worm if you could?
I don't know how I would get the points to take Dr. Worm.
If you drop the Vector to the Spitfire and drop the FO Unidron to a regular one, that gives you enough for base Dr. Worm.
Yeah. And if you drop a slave drone, you can get the marksman turret one as well if you want.
Okay.
I think you just get the combi.
I think the last time I ran the numbers, I got it. I only was able to get Dr. Worm up to deployable cover.
Yeah, you can get the... So what, he's 24, you need 6 points. You get 3 dropping the Vector, 3 dropping a slave drone, and 1... Yeah, so if you did all of that and dropped a slave drone, you could get the marksman one. If you keep 1 point, you get to keep the combi rifle. I don't know. There is a way to do it. If the Vector Spitfire is a legitimate thing, I'm not sure.
I've had games against it before, and it's been good. I know I've seen it in vanilla combined as well in N4, and people were like pretty high on it. Because that's the only thing I'm sort of seeing is because you're sort of doubling up on like the plasma snipers, and you've also got the HRMC from the Overdron as well.
Yes. Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, like if the Nexus has been doing all the work you needed to do, like there's no sense sort of like messing with a good thing, basically.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm guessing you're super attached to the E-drone as well.
No, absolutely not.
I was going to say if you dropped the Vector, the Spitfire, you could get Bit and Kiss for the E-drone.
That would be another possibility.
I mean, that's a good way to do that. It's a good way because that's a regular hacking device in the list, or is that just playing the killer hacking device one?
Just the 20.1. I'm not sure what. Oh, sorry, they're both 24 points.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness, she's terrible.
Onyx has slightly different Kiss profiles.
Because they've got the +1. They've got the +1 burst on the picture spell.
Which means they're both 24 points.
You could do you could do that, and instead of taking Dr. Worm, take Bit and Kiss. But I guess it's not really. I don't know if it's worth it.
At that point, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's something I would consider because one of the things that I do come across playing this is going, I kind of wish I had that regular hacker in here, but it's so hard to fit in. And having Bit and Kiss in there would also help with deployment zone defense because I can get one more repeater in there.
Depends on you could have 2 because she has Mine Layer, and if you take the 24.1, then Kiss is a repeater as well.
Yes, yeah,
that's definitely a possibility then. If you drop a slave drone, drop the Vector, and drop the Unidron back to normal, E-drone to Bit and Kiss.
Yeah.
I
would consider the E-drone dropping out.
Have you found that are you using it for marksmanship still, or are you more so giving an extra burst to the Unidron in reactive, or?
I'm usually using it more for marksmanship in active.
Right. Okay.
Though the more it comes across, I feel like I need it more to go up before first turn if I go second. But if I go first, it's just like icing on the cake. It's not it's not as big of a benefit. Though there's also games where putting that on the Thunderbolt or on the Q drone just locks down part of the board.
Yeah, it does. With the mimetism it has as well. Yeah, the Q drone's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about your second list, Nick? How are we feeling about that?
Second list. I wrote this last week and played it twice yesterday. So the first game I made a really stupid error. And so it was a practice of what happens when I kill my lieutenant on my first turn. So, good practice recovery. And then the second game, it did what I expected to do. So I think I got enough practice to go, I'm more comfortable with this. The list is Norcaius, lieutenant. I've got then 2 Icadrons, only 1 Imatron. Kernow, then a Unidron K1 Combi Tinbot Firewall -3, and a Unidron Plasma Sniper. So those 3 form a Haris. Sorry?
I didn't know that Unidron profile existed.
It is a really nice one. The problem I think it has, with most people remembering it, you have to upgrade the Plasma Sniper to a K1, and then upgrade the K1 to a Tinbot. So it's far enough out. It's like 3 points more than the base profile because of that. However, it's in a really nice place because now I have Kernow in a level 3 fire team with a Tinbot. And this also now gives me a place to drop Norkias if I need to put him under a Tinbot as well before I get a turn.
Yeah.
Followed up with a Greif Impersonator and then a Noctifer Spitfire. Group 2 is an R drone, a Q drone, Thunderbolt +1 burst, Dr. Worm with marksman turrets, with 1 slave drone, a Fracta hacker, and a Noctifer missile launcher. So this deploys as 8-3.
Yeah.
And
if I'm going
Fractals
first,
look real good.
like they have the option of knocking off on group 1, and then group 2 with 3 orders. Dr. Worm deploys a turret, reloads, and deploys a turret.
Yep.
As like, there's group 2 done. I really have started to enjoy that Noctifer Spitfire as an active gunfighter. Mostly because I also have reliable pitchers and white noise.
Yep, totally.
So in one of my games yesterday was against military orders, and the reserve drop was a Black Friar.
Oh no.
So it opened up as Norkias lobs a pitcher next to, like, in the general vicinity of the Black Friar, and then the Noctifer Norkias activates, puts white noise directly on top of the Black Friar.
You mean
And then the
Kernow,
Noctifer
right?
comes out and surprise attacks the Black Friar.
Yeah. You mean Kernow, right? Like not
Oh, sorry,
Northeast?
Kernow. Yes, sorry, Kernow drops white noise.
I was about to say, did fucking Onyx get like their own special Northeast profile
No,
with like pictures and white noise?
For some reason, and I was doing this yesterday, I have a weird link in my brain, and I'm not sure why, of Kernow being pronounced Norkius.
Okay.
And
I can get behind that.
please call me on it. If you play me at CanCon, please call me on it. I will try to break the habit. I don't know why it's there. So it's a list that will like absolutely punish MSV and marksmanship, and then attack you with surprise attack Noctifers to basically stack up and hit that -12 cap on penalties to your roll.
I mean, I think both your lists punish MSV and marksmanship really efficiently between like the Overdron in one list and then everything in the second list, basically.
Yeah. So I do have one alternative to this list that I did on the train ride home because I wasn't sure I was getting enough work out of the Greif. A lot of times I've noticed with the Greif, I just deploy it in an awkward place, and then my opponent avoids it, but bottlenecks themselves some to do so. And then it just kind of waits there in case they make a mistake. But with the Noctifers in there and the Fracta, I've got decent tools to get in there if they make a mistake. So the change that I'm considering is dropping the Greif, moving the Fracta Hacker to Group 1, dropping Dr. Worm to combi turrets instead of marksman. And this gives me the points and the Swick to add a Fracta boarding shotgun adhesive launcher rifle to Group 2 and upgrade the Noctifer Spitfire to forward deploy +4.
That 4 things off the table at the beginning.
It would deploy as 7-3.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Look, I mean, I've done it as a JSA
Yeah.
player. Like, I mean, it's not like it's difficult, and like
Mhm.
and it's your units are strong enough to really leverage that.
Mhm.
Leverage it. The only thing that I'd be worried about is if you were taking this in firefight and you got 2 of your 3 classifieds as just banger, like Greyfop ones, and you were like, oh man, I really need to take this list over the Overdron list. It's like you get Sabotage and the multispectral visor one, whatever it is. HVT on the multispectral without multispectral visor. Follow up, yeah, that's the one. Is it follow up?
No. Yeah,
Follow-up.
there's a like visor, the HVT or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's not follow up. It's
So both
like,
Fracta come with decharges.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The Fracta Hacker, and like I did this yesterday in Firefight, where the Fracta Hacker came on the board from the back of their deployment zone because of designated landing area, and came on touching a building, and then immediately went, I see that building, classified.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Fracta are also medium infantry now.
Yeah.
So they
So
can
a lot
do
of-
follow up, yeah.
A lot of units got medium infantry in in them. Like
So-
the Nexus weren't medium infantry, I don't believe.
I don't remember on the Nexus.
Yeah. I think Kodali definitely was, and the Extra were.
Mhm.
But yeah, Fracta weren't, Macrep maybe not, Nexus weren't. They were light infantry. So yeah, it's cool having like so many options for medium infantry now.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, so I think with this, yes, I agree. The Greif does give me some coverage that the rest of the list doesn't for classifieds. But overall, I think I cover enough that I'm comfortable with what I like can split with my choices. As far as like draw 2, I should be able to do that because Dr. Worm covers a lot. I don't have any visors, and that's probably the biggest weakness.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I also have no visors and no marksmanship. So anyone trying to skew into that like white noise albedo meta, this list does not care.
Yeah. And I mean, Norkius doesn't care about
Anything.
doesn't care about white noise or mimetism or
No.
like zero visibility because he just goes stab.
He cares about
Oh.
structure, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And he's
Can't suck the go-get out of a structure model.
You cannot.
just the whole cyber mask and then jump 12 inches.
Yep.
It's basically it's a more effective 2-order cautious move.
Yeah,
It is.
insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's a absolute nutter. I like both of these lists a lot. I think you've done a really, really good job with Onyx, and I'm super interested to see where this sort of ends up going. I'm curious if you'll make any of those changes to list 1, but if you don't, I think the list works just fine, sort of as is, especially. You sound a lot more confident than Tristan is.
I've someone made a comment because in the Melbourne chat yesterday, someone posted a picture of the games day, and I was there, and someone made a comment that I've been at every games day for like the past month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Put
thought
the
about it
work
and went, like I got 3 games in yesterday, and I got 5 games in last weekend, and he's like, oh yeah, I have been putting my hand up a lot for this.
I've played
mate.
more than a game a day.
You
on
are
average.
you are in fact like a human infinity computer, and it is
Yes.
very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
All right, moving on to, I think honestly I'm super excited to talk about like Josh's list because it's the new Steel Phalanx and he's gone in a very interesting direction with it. I'll be really sad if these lists end up being deploying JSA models on the weekend. But we will see. Hopefully these lists do in fact get to see the light of day at CanCon.
We'll see.
Are these the
We'll
right
see.
ones, or do I need to?
No, you need to restart the thingy.
Oh, the behind
That's
the scenes
them.
for the behind the scenes.
Are these the right lists?
They are the right lists, yes.
Excellent.
Please don't tell me you made Tristan like exit and come back in because of the names.
No, there was significant issues that I noticed last night after my game with Tristan. Cool. I've got some very well named Steel Phalanx lists that I am pretty proud of. I think that I really think that the main takeaway. I mean, we've just gone from like at the start of N4 we had like mixed links being the way to play Infinity, and then we've come back, and it's just like, oh, after the fire team rework, it's like, oh, pure line infantry, or some keyword soup kind of style to get like the best we can in terms of like fire teams. But like all like power of all fire teams was decreased, and now we've come into M5 and it's just been even decreased even further. So I think that like big sectorial play is going to focus less on fire team, and I believe that tags are sort of going to be. I'm not alone in thinking that tags are kind of going to be king, because of up against a up against say a sniper rifle ARO piece, like you're really going to affect me one, maybe 2 wounds on my tag, and so it's obviously heavy rocket launchers, missile launchers are a different kettle of fish, but not having true burst 2 in ARO, all that kind of stuff, I think it's just going to be a little bit placing a little bit more power in the hands of tag players. Now saying that, I have a tag list. List 1 is an Agamemnon lieutenant. A little. You can either choose to do a Haris here or a 4-man core of Dactyl, Phoenix, Myrmidon Officer, and Thamris. It's a level 2 whether you duo the Dactyl with the Agamemnon or put him in the core. So it's a level 2 fire team, so the burst 2 on arrows, +1 special dice on arrow. Myrmidon Officer is the chain of command one. It's just got access. We've got new access to Eclipse because it's not as universal as it was in N4, and I actually really like the profile. It also fakes out being the lieutenant because they're both whip 14, Agamemnon and Myrmidon Officer. But as soon as you spend that LT order, which I do, it's not something that really worries too much. Thamris is a fantastic hacker. He is the replacement for Pandora running off and being
worse than vanilla combined.
A vanilla combined apologist. But we gain Cyber Mask and Trinity with our hacking device instead of the Zero Pain. And like he's got an emitter. Oh no, this one doesn't. Pitcher, Flash Pulse Plus on burst, and Cyber Mines, and he's a mine layer, which is excellent. Cyber Mines getting a bit of Netrod.
They stun.
Yeah, they do. Netrod, 2 Flash Pulse bots, a Pro bot to just refresh all of my pitches and mines, and Panther Slayer, who also got a bit of a cheeky glow up with a Zapper +1 burst and a smoke grenade launcher, which is pretty good. So she's not tossing her smokes down on 11s anymore. She's shooting her smoke grenade launcher on 13s.
Yep.
Much better. Group 2 consists of a Scylla Evo hacker with her Davabot, another Netrod, a TR bot with a Thunderbolt, the Thunderbolt +1 burst TR bot, a missile launcher, a Samic missile launcher, and robot, and a war core. Mostly just leveraging the absolute glow up that Agamemnon gained with his AP heavy machine gun with best attack continuous damage for 65
He's the world's
points.
largest Azrael.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a large boy. I think he's probably probably the most resilient LT in Steel Phalanx. He has ECM hacker -3 natively. You can use Scylla to put firewall up if you really are scared of hackers as well. So he'd be automatically a -6 to hacking programs and then BTS 9 against them. Dactyls duo, or you can leave it behind, or you can put it in the book. Like there's lots of ways you can use the Dactyl. And I think Thamris is an auto include.
I do too. He's really good.
Yeah. I've played a couple of versions of this list. I've settled kind of on this. I really like having Panther Slayer there as a backup attack piece, or even maybe a main attack piece if Agamemnon just can't get to things. She's really good.
She zooms aggressively, and the fact that templates are a lot scarcer now is really good for her.
Yeah, it's excellent. True 2 wounds is just crazy too.
Yep.
Yeah, so good.
Absolutely the place to be.
That speed plus Zapper +1 burst.
Yeah.
That Zapper +1 burst, that's 4 saves.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's insane.
Yeah.
The second list here is Ajax Spray and Wipe is what I've called it. It has a 10-5 split of Ajax, the forward deployment one, a fire team here of the Mackie missile launcher, a Scylla FTO, and Charybdis FTO. As a little level 3 Harris, a level 3 Harris / core of Phoenix, Myrmidon Officer, Lieutenant, and Hippolyta. 2 Flash Pulse bots and a Crowbot. And Group 2 consists of a Thamris, a Dactyl Harris of Thamris, Dactyl Engineer, and K2 Auxilia FTO. A Samic missile launcher and a War Core 360 visor. This one is I'm just throwing. It was sort of like, how can I make a guided list in Steel Phalanx, and this is what I kind of settled on. Originally, I had a Myrmidon hacker in there as well. I just didn't really like people being able to reach out and like attack a Myrmidon link. I don't know if Phoenix needs the +1 ballistic skill, so I'm leaving it as a level 3 fire team rather than taking it up to level 4. I could take it up to level 4, but I just think that like Myrmidons are pretty mid, to be honest.
They are, yeah.
Like just vanilla Myrmidons. Myrmidon Officer is an excellent. Sorry,
they're not cheap enough to be link filler.
no.
Yeah,
You know, for 16 points, like that they can throw smoke, and that's about it. I just sort of don't really want to pay that. To be completely honest with you, Myrmidon officers are, on contrary, Myrmidon officers are excellent LTs. I think they a vanilla ALF player in our meta used to run them as his sole vanilla ALF lieutenant. He said they were the best things ever. So I've never taken them before, so I really wanted to try them out. So here we are with 2 of them, which is pretty great. And Eclipse is a cool thing. Originally, this list had instead of the Mackie had Alki, but unfortunately, Scylla can't form the Steel Phalanx fire team, which means that I need a Mackie or a Hoplite in there, and the Mackie was the lesser of 2 evils.
The hoplite, yeah, you had the hoplite engineer in there at one point, and I think I yelled at you to get it out of there.
Oh, I really like the Hoplite Engineer. I really think it's got some play. But it was just levering too many mid pieces because I was trying to link the Hoplite and the Charybdis spot, and then I was trying to link Scylla and a Mackie and a K2, and it was just like, oh, I just turned them into like fight teams you don't really see very often that have actually really good keywords, like the Dactyl, Thamris, and K2 Auxiliaries is a level 2 because K2 Auxiliaries count as Dactyls.
And they're a great little ARO piece as well.
They're fantastic. They're good aggressively too.
Yeah.
I wish I had another point here to take it up to the Mind Dispenser profiles, but the Mind Dispenser profiles don't carry an Emerat with them.
Mhm.
So it's sort of a bit whatever. I like Hippolyta as well. If I throw Hippolyta forward and keep Phoenix or the Myrmidon Officer as the link lead, I can separate them, keeping the fire team intact as a duo or as a 2-person core, keeping it as a level 2, and also setting Hippolyta free to do shit.
Yep.
So some interesting little tech there. I can also do the same thing with the Mackie missile launcher and Scylla if I don't need the Mackie anymore to do stuff. Mackies were pretty good in N4. I mean, I say pretty good. They were okay in M4.
They just didn't see the light of the day because everything else in like the main Steel Phalanx list was just like too good, right?
Yeah, I think that my main issue with them, or the main issue with them now is I'm not being able to. I'm paying for tactical awareness that I'm not able to leverage because I'm using a missile launcher and not anything else. And I don't know when I'm using. I might once activate if I need a like burst 1+1.5 missile launcher just to hit something across the table. Maybe they are MSV1 and Mimetism Deck 3, which is pretty fun.
You could also just use the tack aware to reposition them.
Yeah, you can.
If you need to slightly adjust where they are for better AROs as the game progresses.
Yeah, sure, you could do that. There's I really wanted to get Alki in there because NCO is a cool skill, but I just can't find the spot for it. I could take out Scylla and the Charybdis or change some stuff in there to get a Therakitai link in there, maybe. And that's where the Mackies really shined in N4 as well, because they were able to get 6 cents from their 4-man Therakitai links. So, yeah, there's some interesting pieces in here. I really find Steel Phalanx quite interesting in this edition, and I've had a fair amount of success with the tag list. I've had less success with the Ajax list, but I haven't played it very much, so I'm keen to get it on the table and throw Ajax up the board. Ajax on the 24-inch line in 3 out of the 5 missions, or 4 out of the 5 missions.
I feel like you could very conceivably, if you wanted to, one list the event with that tag list.
You can. I have a sneaky suspicion that the tag list is a really decent all comers. I think that Scylla's maybe the wrong choice, and that I'd probably change it up enough to put maybe just throw Ajax into it instead. Maybe even make Ajax part of the link, the Myrmidon link. Take something out of there and put Ajax in. Might be the way to do it, but I just found that a bit boring. So
Still is a lot of fun.
I like Scylla. I really like Scylla. Being able to just go, oh hey, you might have walked a hacker into my hacking area. I've got 2 Trinity arrows now. One of them is whip 14. The other one is whip 13, but has ECM hacker -3. It actually makes such a big deal.
Yeah, hacking a firewalled Scylla is awful in every possible version of that word.
Also, having an Evo hacker that can conceivably spend orders is pretty great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like her.
I like
She's also
rotating
medium
stuff.
infantry, which means that she add a character, so she completes a fairly large amount of classifieds, which is awesome too.
That's really good. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
realize. I forgot she was medium infantry. Yeah, that's really good.
I really like it.
Yeah, I feel like you want that second list just in case, like with me playing Joan, just in case you come up against vanilla combined and you're like, oh, I really don't want Aggie getting pitches on top of him, even if he is hard to hack. Like a Whip 16 hacker is still going to get through that.
Yeah, I think if I was going to come into like hacking supremacy, I would take the tag list, because I've got comparatively much weaker hacking, and a much weaker network, and so like nomads and combined would kind of just tear the hacking, the guided list apart a little bit. The guided list is better into things like so Steel Phalanx notoriously can't fight mimetism very well,
No,
because it doesn't have like linked MSV2. In fact, any MSV2 really, like you've got Atalanta and the
and the
Agema
Agema, yeah.
are your only options. So the it was the guided list is more like a how can I realistically throw myself into lists with high mimetism? So things like JSA don't do terribly well into that. Maybe some Ariadne as well wouldn't be so good. It's that's sort of my reasoning behind the guided list. Also, I just wanted to. I've got a very nicely new
Painted
painted
Ajax.
Ajax, so I really wanted to put him on the table.
Absolutely.
One of the best reasons to run a list like that.
Yeah, and I can't put my Danny Carroll converted and painted Achilles on the table, so I will settle for Ajax.
I should have made a Hector list.
I could have used it, actually, you're right. Or I should just
No.
play the limited assertion Achilles Caronted list that I've got.
No,
going,
what
which
you
is-
no, what you need to do is you need to use your Achilles as Hippolyta.
Oh my god! Actually, I'll just make it my HVT.
No, use it as Hippolyta. No
Okay.
one will question it.
Yeah, sure. This is my
Here's
Amazon.
Gav
Look at him with
Bateman,
his Amazonian
Achilles,
locks.
and a really weird looking furry. Which one of my HVTs is the real one?
The best Achilles.
Well,
Anyway, they're my
we've got
Steel Phalanx
unmasking.
boots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Three HVTs.
Achilles is on there.
Lots of
I'm really excited to run them. So
Yep. Well, yeah, those are the lists of the Loss of Lieutenant players who are going to be at CanCon. So who are playing at CanCon? All four of us are going to be there. I'm not going to be playing for a variety of reasons, but I will be wandering around the event during day one. I'll be as soon as I figure out how Facebook live streaming works, I'll probably do some live streams from like round one. I'll make my way around talking to sort of all the players, kind of finding out what's going on. If you see any of us, you want to say hi, that's totally fine. I think we're all pretty chill about stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's going to be really going to be a really good event. Now you have our lists, so now you have the list, so you can counter build for the Loss of Lieutenant crew, should you so desire.
Cool.
If you are at CanCon and not playing in the Infinity Tournament, but want to come up and talk to one of us, I am printing off Lost Lieutenant Speedball tokens for everyone in the tournament, and we'll have some extras. So if you play Infinity but are not in the tournament, let me know, and I will see how many I have left.
Hell yeah.
A little cheeky prize.
Absolutely. It's a sick prize.
One other little thing I was going to say is if you do see us at CanCon, we're actually really interested in your thoughts about N5, your experiences with N5, what you think, is really good, what you think is bad, what you think is maybe overrated. Yeah, we'd love to hear how you're experiencing N5 early on.
Absolutely.
Talking about that, we should probably
they
go to
have some
predictions.
predictions. So how is everyone sort of feeling about N5 going into CanCon? Does it sort of feel like we're in a little bit of like, do you have like strong feelings about how the event's going to shake out in any way, or is it sort of anyone's game kind of thing right now?
Yeah, sorry, go Nick.
I think we don't have enough information.
What
Because
a boring answer.
like
I know.
there are so many changes that are small that will go unnoticed by most people who are just trying to peruse all the factions, that will be seen by someone who plays that faction. And I think we will see some of those come out at CanCon.
Yeah, totally.
Just building steel phalanx lists made me go, ooh. And also looking at vanilla Aleph lists made me go, ooh. There's some interesting things in there that I would really like to see people take. I think that people will be very, very prepared for some of the big stuff. So, like how good a Coronted is, the Seraph, the red, like the aerials. I think that people are really gonna like be locked down on that kind of stuff, and I think it's gonna be the stealth buffs, like Nick said, that are just gonna take over. Like Ivory has been like fucking mainlining Drews, just putting Drews straight into their veins. Like some hillbilly heroin, and
Yes.
I think that like people are going to come up against things like Drews and go, oh, I didn't realize you could fit so much into these lists now, because N5 just got a whole lot cheaper, and that's sort of what I'm finding. I can fit my second Steel Phalanx list has no net rod in it.
Yeah.
And like Steel Phalanx used to be 2 flash boss, 2 net rods, and then you build it from there.
Yeah.
So no net rods is crazy for me to think of, like building an Aleph list. It's nuts. So I think that, and I think one of Nick's list only had 1 net rod in it, 1 Ematron in it. So
Yes, yeah.
it was
it did have a flash bot because I had an extra point.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think that there's a big chance that like people will get caught out by really minor changes and minor points reductions that mean that you can just fit a little bit more into a list, and your lists can be just a little bit more effective going into turn 3. With how like everyone is sort of doom posting about how strong alphas are compared to with speedballs. I don't think in Meat Space Infinity, I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem, because I just don't think that many people are getting that many games in. Like if you're perennially online, and you've gotten 40 games in since N5 dropped, yeah, sure, you're probably going to see Speedball every game.
Hey,
yeah.
Is that going to look right?
It is.
It's
To
going to
be
look
fair,
right.
Nick's played what 12 games of Infinity in the last couple of weeks, and I think he's forgotten Speedball every time.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say I haven't. Okay, I have sometimes forgotten Speedball. After paying for it.
Yep, that is the way.
But I am finding that it is less important to drop it turn 1 for my playstyle than it was at the start.
Yeah.
Part of that, I'm using it more as a recovery mechanism, or as I need to see what my opponent's tools are first before I decide where it's most useful.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I don't know.
I think that's good. I think that, yes, I think a turn 3 Speedball could blow out people.
Yep.
Like it's a turn 2 or 3 Speedball, you're like, oh, I've killed all your stuff. Like it's huge. It's like I've actually got an extra wound on. It's like my tag.
My
or
Fennec
like you
Fusilier Thunderbolt plus 1 burst.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like, or I've suddenly got a on my Fennec Fusilier flash forward observer, which is sitting at the back of the DZ, now has super jump because I've got a jetpack one use. And now I can move it 12 inches in one order, and that's 1.5 orders of movement, and he actually has a chance to go push a button now.
Yeah.
So there's like loads of things that you can do with Speedball that don't necessarily rely on pushing it into your opponent's face with an alpha strike.
It's still going to be
and
very
people-
good to do that, though, is the thing.
Yeah, I honestly think that Aussies are pretty good at defending.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be. I think the ARM is shifting a lot. TR bots, I think the Thunderbolt ones are going to be
The
a little bit
Thunderbolt,
better
the
than
Thunderbolt TR bot has genuinely changed the game, I think. It's
Yes.
so good.
Yep.
they're so good. They're so good. It changes how I use TR bots for sure. I use them more like flash pulses now. Like
Yeah.
I've got it right at the back of my DZ watching a super long fire lane, and like it's getting those 0 range bands on something.
Mhm.
Flash I think Flash is more important now. I think just because it went down in like not lethality, but like effectiveness but it sort of was side buffed. Like
Because of the changes to immunity.
because of the change of immunity. So like some of those big immunity pieces are just gonna get blown out by a stun thing now. It's crazy. Yeah, I think that there's this. It's gonna be an odd like learning period and learning curve. But I'm really excited to see what lists do well at CanCon, because I think that Aussies are thinkers, and we like taking things that aren't necessarily what's touted as being the best, or
And
at least
winning with it.
or the most optimized list. And so you tend to find some really out of left field stuff.
Yeah.
I really want to push limited insertion. To be honest, I think that limited insertion would take a lot of brain space off me, and that the fact that you can run it without being punished for the
Attack
I think
awares?
Once we see a clarification, if there is one, because it feels like that was the intention, and it's just not worded correctly.
Mm.
Yeah.
The like orders off the board count against, because
it's in your army list. It states your army list. So
Yeah,
I assume that it means that HD things get count.
The way it's worded now, I believe they are, but the fact that you have to count your order pool first,
Yeah.
and then it says check your army list, I think that is just a either a miswording or a translation error, and that it should be the actual order count. In which case, yes, then you get the ability to do like a limited insertion with one hidden deploy, but attack aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Do,
can
tac-
totally
do
see
attack
that.
awares, do tactical orders count?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do.
Right.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see sort of how like the like weird rock paper scissors of like albedo, white noise marksmanship, mimetism all sort of ends up shaking out. I think mimetism is probably going to end up coming out on top like it usually does.
I think
mimetism
is the most widely applicable one.
It's just it's just like probably it's the most widely applicable keyword in the game, and it's the best against the majority of the other things, including mimetism.
It's mimetism acts outside of the scissors paper rock thing. So you've got this like scissors paper rock thing where you need a piece like you've got mimetism, MSV, albedo, but albedo doesn't interact with mimetism, and but does because mimetism pieces, blah blah blah, whatever. You've got that kind of like scissors paper rock triangle Pokemon type things. The issue is that mimetism 0.1 on the scissors paper rock thing works against everything else.
Yeah.
Except for MSV. So
the other
it works
thing,
against
yeah.
98% of troopers, and Albedo doesn't. MSV doesn't. So it's mimetism. I think mimetism's king.
The other thing that isn't mentioned there is also BS attack -3 and Warhorse,
Yes.
which is less applicable, but still BS
Mhm.
attack -3, if you have it, is probably second to mimetism, because there isn't that much Warhorse in the game if you're not playing against Morats.
Yeah, I think BS attack
I think there's some
-3
stealth Warhorse
is-
buffs. Like some things got Warhorse that you did. Like Phoenix got Warhorse.
Yeah.
So there's some there's some Warhorse in there that you don't really that you're not going to really expect.
I
In
think
fact,
with the
people should just try and look. People should just look at it as well. Like look at their units. If they get attacked by BS attack -3, just look and make sure you don't have Warhorse or Combat Instinct or Sixth Sense, because I think a lot of things just snuck it in there without knowing.
I think with the BS attack -3 Warhorse, it's not as active an issue as Albedo, White Noise, Mimetism, MSV, because there's not a lot of planning you can do with your list around that. Like your main gunfighter either has or doesn't have Warhorse. There's not a lot of like choice between them in most armies.
Yeah.
So like it's
Like Warhorse
for
tends to be
Onyx is like Onyx has no horse other than like that has a gun.
Yeah.
And so like if I encounter BS attack -3, I encounter BS attack -3. There's just nothing
You can do about that, yeah.
It's similar regards to a lot of factions with White Noise and Albedo, though, as well.
So the circling back to the command token strategic use removed to at regular orders. The last sentence of it states, which is the bit that talks about 10 order lists, the player may only remove the orders from army lists that have more than 10 orders. So it does specifically state army list, which is the list that you create in army.
Yes.
So it's not about how many orders you have at your order count. It's about how many orders you have at in your army list.
Correct. I think it is misworded, but that is how it is currently worded.
Yeah.
That
might be how it's misworded, but
because it requires you to count your orders first. However, yes, you are correct. That is how it is worded. It is not ambiguous in how it is currently worded.
No.
And Donovan makes a point. It does make you reveal private info.
Yes.
However, the fact that you have hidden deployed troops is not private info. Only what those profiles are what those profiles are in those hidden deployment troops is private info.
Yeah, because you have to ask an opponent to turn around and take a photo, right?
Yeah,
they'll know.
If you've got two combat groups and one of them is completely full of hidden deployment things, they know you've got a second combat group that exists. Yes. The combat group exists. The fact that you have a really good look at I've got one here of what actually is private info. Mm-hmm. I had a courtesy list here.
The courtesy list says group 2 and has nothing in it.
Yeah.
Correct. I think that is not... it is a good example of how you can be forced to reveal, but it doesn't change the fact that the hidden deploy model is private. The existence of it is private until it goes down. And in the case of a group 2, it's not the hidden deploy model they know, it's the fact that group 2 exists.
Group 2 exists.
And it could be a combat jump model. It could be a hidden deploy model.
Yeah, so the presence of hidden deployment troopers is private information. I apologize. That was
which under the
and
current
the contents of your markers.
Limited
Although the
rules,
content of the marker is private information, which combat group they belong to is open information.
Yes.
So all of that stuff is open.
If you deploy 9 models on the table, one of which is tactical aware, which means you have 10 orders in your pool. According to this, you are forced to divulge that you have a hidden model.
Yeah.
Based on your opponent's decision on, do I take orders from or not? And that's another reason I think that it is a miswording.
Yeah, it'll need an FAQ. I wonder if has I don't know if Chris has stated anything on it, but in terms of, I think he might be just straight up using the IGL one that the IGL guys have posted. But
I have not heard either way.
yeah, I think he just I think someone asked him and he said, "What's the IGL one?" If I remember correctly. So it's it could go either way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the other big meta question: turrets.
I'm
What's
such
your-
a
what's the
believer in
opinion?
turret meta. If you get a turn 2, turrets are good. Oh, I'll be back in a second. Please wax lyrical about how cool turrets are.
Okay.
Turrets are so amazing. What did you bring to show and tell? Turret.
You brought turret last week. I think, honestly, I think that spending all your orders to place turrets might be a bit of a misplay.
I think it's
deliberately.
It's a win more. It feels like a win more kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're deliberately creating like an unfun experience for yourself and your opponent, you're gonna have an unfun time. That's sort of my opinion on them.
I think there's a degree at which it is healthy list building, and then at some point it crosses the line and is like, I'm just playing this for the meme, where you're no longer like actively advancing yourself, you're just delaying.
Yeah. I think
So-
that the most efficient use I've seen of it is like as part of that like utility group 2,
Yes.
where it's like throw a turret, maybe reload, throw a second turret, and then you reload at the end of the turn. Like throwing out, as with Dr. Worm, just throwing out 2 marksmanship turrets is like a really efficient way to just sort of generate a free ARO field.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is that there's a couple of turrets in the game that are like way stronger than most of the other ones.
The Lambda
Like-
Engineer with its cum turret.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think the emitter turret on Shaq T is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
There is probably legitimate uses of turrets for like acquisition, where if the only way, like if you, like half the time people go, here's a chain rifle, I'm putting my dude prone behind the box, so you're gonna have to fight a chain rifle. You might have to take 1 shot from a long range ARO, but if there's a turret there, sometimes 3 dice is just too much.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's very true. Like I said, I think that I don't think buying the first turn is as much of a problem as people are probably making it out to be, provided you're doing like good defense. And yeah, being able to just use a group 2 very efficiently to like set up free defenses. Because the thing to remember about turrets, which I think is sometimes a little bit forgotten, right, is your opponent like spending orders to kill turrets isn't killing orders out of your order pool. It's removing a piece of equipment that cost you an order to put down.
Yeah,
like you're still you're still generating an order from the model at the start of your next turn. Like your opponent isn't actually removing orders from your order pool. You're removing orders from their order pool, and you're getting them back.
Well, I guess it depends. For example, in Nick's case, if Nick spends 3 orders to put 2 turrets down in Nick's first turn, and it takes me 2 orders to kill those turrets, have I won that interaction? Or let's say 2 short skills to do that. Like, is that a win for me?
I think it's a win for Nick because again, if the difference is between you shooting a TR bot and you shooting a turret, it's better for Nick if you're shooting turrets.
So I think it depends on what those orders would otherwise be used for. So in the case of like the Dr. Worm and 2 extra regular orders, those are first to go to force reconstitution. And if I don't need to bring anything back up, then I just throw turrets out. So it's not like the orders are less expensive for me to use to throw turrets out than they are for my opponent to shoot them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's probably also an argument there that using those orders to place the turrets might not be the most efficient thing you could have done.
I'd
Yes.
agree. I'd agree with you if they weren't perimeter deployable. Like the fact that you have an 8-inch bubble to
Yeah.
do it makes them so much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the fact that Zona Control is a cylinder, and they're already Arbor 2 BTS 3.
Yes.
They're really easy because they're size 2 to deploy on a rooftop next to a parapet.
Yep.
And suddenly you have an Armor 5 Burst 3 gun.
Yep. It's they are not trivial to deal with. And especially in the case of like the Lambda's fucking cum turret, like losing a face-to-face against that thing is horrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's as expensive as the Machinist in reality, so like...
It's 1 point cheaper, I think. It's 17 points, right, for the cum turret?
No, it's
Or is it
19. I think it's 1
19?
point more expensive, but obviously you're getting a Whip 14 engineer instead of a Whip 12 engineer.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's basically the same cost as the combi rifle turret.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers.
One note on the Whip 14 engineer. Remember deactivators exist?
Yes.
Not all engineers get them, but most do. And if you have a Whip 14 engineer, as long as the item is in Zona Control, you auto pass your deactivation because it's at a +6, and it doesn't require line of fire inside Zona Control.
Yep. Always a good thing to remember with how much equipment is probably going to be in the game with this sort of. Yeah, I don't know. I'm absolutely a believer in turret meta. I think it's gonna become such a thing.
I don't think... I'm of two minds if people actually take them, though. Either we're a bit biased because we've played probably a lot more games than the regular CanCon attendee has, and we've kind of gotten accustomed. We've broken the mold of N4 a little bit, whereas the average CanCon person might be like, I feel comfortable playing something similar to what I played in N4. Or the opposite is I just want to go everything new in the list.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that might just come down to the person, but like, yeah.
I feel like there are going to be some like returning players who are gonna like feel very safe that they have a heavy flamethrower to stop a Norkius, and then the poor Norkius player has to inform them that will in fact do nothing, and that they have just eaten 7 models.
The Norkius is now 4 wounds.
Yeah, the Norkius is now 3 wounds. Good day, sir.
I'm curious to see. I'm trying to remember which model it is. There's a mine layer. I think is it Fireflies? The mine layer. Mine layer marksman turret. And they are AVA 5. I am curious to see if anyone is actually going to go for that. Because it is the newest faction, or one of the two, and the newest equipment, and something that will probably seem broken to start with. But I'm curious to see if anyone's going to try that one.
As possible.
Got any of them deactivators?
Yeah. So, one note to remember on turrets, if someone is trying to spam them, you can coordinate order place deployables. If you coordinate order reload, only one model can reload per order.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't let people reload their entire thing. Thank you so much, Donovan. That's beautiful. You've even got the beard to line up as well. That's doubly impressive.
It's very impressive.
That is very impressive.
Jordan's going to be an O12 player soon.
I don't know if turrets is going to be the defining feature.
I don't think it's going to be the defining, but I think it's going to be like more of a part of the meta than people might be giving it credit for currently, where I think it's seen as a little bit gimmicky right now.
I just had a look to see if I could fit it into my lists, and I don't think I can. So it's going to be not a defining feature of my lists for sure.
It's also going to depend some on the factions.
Yeah, there are some factions that are way better at it.
Because there's some factions just don't like. Even combined as a whole, has very limited access to them. Like
Yeah.
we've got Dr. Worm, who's AVA 1 in every possible way. And then I think the Morat engineers have a profile with like one of the basics.
Yeah.
And that's
heard
it.
that.
So like combined Great Faction, just not really access to armored turrets in any
I would take
like
I would take a 40-point Dr. Worm that had plasma turrets for sure.
I think you're kind of downselling the CA turrets, Nick. I feel like the marksman turret is in like the top quarter of all the turrets.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that we can't, like combined can't spam turrets like some other factions. And the availability of how many turrets a faction can put on the table varies quite a bit between factions.
Yes.
Yes.
So the eventual quantity of turrets on the table in general and meta may depend on what factions become popular.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. We have to do this because we'd be very remiss if we didn't. What faction is gonna win CanCon, guys? Nick.
Steel Phalanx.
Good choice, Nick.
Nick.
Well, I'll just say Onyx. Sure, let's go for
Oh.
Onyx.
Josh?
Steel Phalanx.
I honestly think a flavor of Pano is going to win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah. The only reason is because I think most of the field is going to be some flavor.
It's
of
gonna be a
Pano.
lot of Pano, I reckon.
I think there's a lot of Pano,
I think
and
they're also-
Kestrel plays it's different to play into Kestrel than normal Pano, and I
Yeah.
think that is going to catch out quite a few players
Yeah, it is.
because they don't expect the tools that Kestrel brings
I don't
from
expect
Pano.
the Yamabushi.
To be honest, I think Kestrel feels more like a Eugene sectorial.
Yeah, 2 Yamabushi forgive all sins. I'm sorry, like
Mm-hmm.
Like Blink Team plus Yamabushi plus, MSV2 pieces,
Yeah.
Scarecrow. It feels so much like a Eugene sectorial. It's not even funny.
if you are looking for like the weaknesses of Kestrel, when they have to reach for like a killer hacking device, it is a like significant investment for a Kestrel list to reach for a good killer hacking device. Because because Scarecrows at 27 points are just a little bit more expensive to where it kind of actually does eat into a list.
Right, okay.
And Banshees don't start on the table.
And Banshees don't start on the table, and Black Airs don't start on the table.
While Pano is not unfamiliar with hidden deploy and combat jump, the flavors of hidden deploy and combat jump in Kestrel do not feel like Pano in any way.
No, they're so good. It's crazy.
They're really good. Tristan, what's gonna win CanCon?
Well, I'm going to be a little bit of a politician.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not talking about myself. I'm not going to win CanCon.
Yeah.
I feel like the person who wins CanCon is going to be the person who plays the best, not who plays the best faction. So it's really hard. If I was going to pick a faction, it's vanilla combined. They are disgusting. Especially in this lineup.
This lineup, yeah, that's very good for vanilla combined. I think I'm gonna say Bakunin.
You think Bakunin?
I think
Is
Bakunin.
this the time where Luke finally wins a top table at CanCon?
Oh, dude, I hope he does. He deserves it. Like, no, I think
there'll be a few Bakunin players. Rob Wright's playing Bakunin, I think.
He's playing Tunguska, I think.
Oh, Tunguska? Excellent. Is Lockie Summer playing Tunguska? I mean, Bakunin?
I'm not sure. He might be playing some flavor of like Eugene potentially. I know he has them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a few Bakunins out there that will probably.
I think it's incredibly well positioned, man. Like ballistic skill 12 Cenobites, so Rob Wright can't cheat with them again. We're never gonna let him live that one down from last CanCon. Base ballistic skill 12 Cenobites are fantastic. Like the 4-core with them, like a Cenobite HRL, a Cenobite Flash Pulse, and then your 2 Custodies is like a fantastic link. Like the Penitent Haris is fantastic. The Penitent's so much better now than it was before. The lizard is like the most bargain basement but most affordable tag in the fucking world. And the Stig is still just as good as it ever was.
And Bakun have access to a 10-point pitcher profile.
Yep. I've got,
in the
I think,
moderator.
yep, I think Bakunin are like super well positioned, and I would not be surprised if they take down the event, and that's where I'm going to put my money.
Yeah,
Twice in a row.
Twice in a row, I could see it happening.
We're going to come back, and it's going to be...
Oh, yeah.
US Ariadne.
Yeah, it's going to be like Ivory is going to win the event.
With Drews,
and like,
yeah.
It's like, there's going to be like US Ariadne in the top 10. There's going to be like a Shizvasti player in the top 10, and like Josh's display is going to like lift up from below.
No, they're going to be like, guys, all right. Do you know what was the defining feature of my Shaz list? Tigers. They're so good, man. Like,
yeah, there we go.
I just welcomed them into CC, and they just did their thing.
Yeah, totally.
Nah, it's going to be an A team. Every Aristo white company.
Yep, 100%. So for our listeners, however, we are going to be doing. There is not going to be an episode next week because all of us will be at CanCon. The week after that, there is going to be a CanCon recap, I believe, but we're not going to be doing like sit down and go through our games. We're going to most likely just sort of be talking about like the top 5 to 10 lists, provided we can get our hands on them, and like a general sort of how was the event type thing. We're going to try and sort of give a wider view of the game than what we sort of have traditionally done, I think.
How wrong were our predictions?
Our predictions are going to be so wrong. You can see it on the slide. It says it on the slide.
I'm gonna pick a random faction. I reckon Val playing TAC. No, that can't be right. I think Kirby playing Rama might have a good choice. Like those, that Corrige list is actually. He says it's bad. It's not 5. It's 4. It's 4.
Is it 4?
It's 4.
Or
It's
is
4
it
and a
3
Beast
Corrige
Hunter.
and Tarak?
It's 3 Corrige, Tariq Mansouri, and a Beast Hunter in a 5-man fire team.
Okay.
And then the rest of the list is bots.
Sure.
Oh no, sorry. There's 2 Ghoul Arms as well.
Game winning.
It's insane.
It sounds insane.
It's insanely bad.
Ryan's
but
a
it's
good,
also
Ryan's a
insanely
good
good.
player.
Fun
Just make
to play until you lose a face-to-face.
Yeah, there we go.
just don't lose a face-to-face roll.
It just don't lose a face-to-face.
Yeah, just don't roll bad. Just roll good.
Yep.
Just roll good, Stooge.
Yep. It's actually really good.
Oh my god.
My hot prediction is I don't think Val's going to do it all. Like he's going to be like bottom quarter.
That's not even a hot prediction.
Well, it kind of is because he doesn't go bottom quarter in any 2-day event.
That's true. He does tend to like.
I don't think Val's going to go bottom quarter. He defends too well.
The only reason I say he's going to go bottom quarter is because he has no idea what lists he's taking even now.
No, he's always like that though. Like he was writing. I remember on the party bus, he was writing lists.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, like that's not an indicator of anything. I think. No, I think this CanCon is like loaded up. Like despite all of the debacle of dealing with the CanCon organizers, I think it's going to be like a super interesting and cool event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is this all of our first tournament after an edition change kind of thing?
Yeah.
For like Infinity specifically, or like war games in general?
Infinity is probably a little bit different to other war games.
Because if it's war games in general, no.
No, you've done 40k stuff.
Yeah, I've done 40k.
But yeah, like none of us have gone through an edition change and immediately gone to the first 2-day event where everything's new and everyone has no idea what they're doing.
Surely Nick has with War Machine.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, War Machine is getting the same treatment because they just got a game-wide profile rebalance.
Oh god.
And it was supposed to be released 3 days before CanCon.
Oh my god.
They actually were able to get it out earlier. So it will not be everyone going, what does your model do? What is that rule?
Oh my god.
What does that rule do now?
Only half of them will be doing that.
Yeah, only half of them will be doing that.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What an episode, guys. What a man, I don't know. I think there is a really sick set of lists being brought by Loss of Lieutenant to CanCon. I have more faith in some of them than I do in others. I have.
Can you say a nice?
Your catalyst,
Can you
insane.
say a nice thing about me, Jordan?
No, the thing I have less faith in is that Josh's Steel Phalanx lists actually hit a table. I'm still again. Last CanCon, the night before we left, I was at his house and he was sitting at his computer just going, "Oh, I don't know. I could bring Steel Phalanx and I think it'd be really good. I could also take JSA. I guess I'll bring Vanilla Combined." And then in the morning, he was like, "I could still bring JSA, you know."
I was so tempted to just change.
This is the advantage of paper lists.
Yeah, it really is.
Once they're printed and in the box and packed in the car, your lists are locked in. You can think about how you're going to play it, but you can stop thinking about, but what if I swap that one model for the model that I didn't pack anyway?
Josh can totally take 4 lists and fit 2 armies in one case.
Lists are printed at Officeworks.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that is literally what happened last CanCon, is we went to Officeworks on Thursday in Canberra and printed lists.
We did.
We are not organized people. So, yeah, I have faith that Josh will make a decision Thursday evening.
No, I think this is happening. I think I'm playing Steel Phalanx, so.
Have you got any games between now and CanCon?
No.
Okay.
I might have one. I might see if I can fit one in on Tuesday.
I don't know.
I was going to say, because sorry, Jordan, my syndrome is I lost a game and questioned my entire life. If you lose a game, you might be like, JSA probably could have done better there, eh?
In that one particular game.
In that one particular scenario.
Yeah.
If I had a Hadamoto, ooh boy.
Just to say something nice, because I am contractually obligated to. Look, I think you have a really nice split for lists in terms of, like, do I need to protect my lieutenant or do I need to, like, sort of go balls out? Yeah. I think the cutter is a little bit overlooked right now, and I think the Swiss Guard is very overlooked right now. I think you're going to catch a lot of people out with that.
We'll see how it goes. I think it's going to come down to me and not the list.
So, except for anyone who's listened to this episode.
We're a small indie podcast. It'll be fine.
Which everyone on the way to CanCon.
We are
even the Age of Sigmar guys will turn around and be like,
"Yeah,
so how did the Swiss Guard go?"
The Age of Sigmar guys are going to come over from their, like, convention hall they have all to themselves to the shit tip hole that we get stuck in.
I'm currently writing a JSA list. Oh boy, does it look good.
I will say a final thing for everyone. We haven't mentioned it. We probably should. Have fun. That's the whole point. If you're not sure what to take, if you're second guessing, try not to be super competitive. Just take something you think is going to be super fun. Because that's why you're there. You're there to have fun. Who cares if you go 0-5, so long as you had 5 great games.
Exactly. 100% all the way. I'm looking forward to walking around on day. It's going to be really fun for me to sort of be able to treat day one as, like, walking around and sort of, like, getting a feel for the whole instead of the, like, haze of stress and self-hatred that day one of a 2-day tournament usually is for me.
Yep.
Excellent.
Goodness.
Yep. Alright, guys, any final thoughts from anyone before we call this one for the evening? Anything you want to say to our loving audience before you start clubbing them like baby seals at the event?
Okay.
Jordan's the man on the ground, so go find him and spill your heart about N5.
Nick, if you want, I'm happy to, like, take your, like, the spare tokens and, like, wander around and people can grab them off me if you'd rather do that so you can focus on the games.
Yeah. I thought about that after I said that and was like, I don't really want people bothering me, like, while
you're playing Infinity. It's like, hey man, can I have one of those tokens? Yeah, look, just chuck them my way. I'll wander around, like, the Infinity section. If you want a speedball token, come find this ugly mug.
Alright, guys.
Alright.
Until next time, we will see you all the week after CanCon. Until then, I've been Jordan.
I've been Nick.
I've been Tristan.
And I've been Josh.
and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.